Almost 50 shark and ray experts have gathered here on Middle Key in the Glover's Reef Marine Reserve to discuss the protection of these predators and ensure that the persons and communities that depend on them can do so. The island's research station has produced groundbreaking studies in shark conservation, and its surroundings are home to dozens of species of sharks and rays. But these magnificent creatures, keeping the balance in Belize's pristine waters, remained under threat. Luke Warwick, WCS's Director of Shark and Ray Conservation, says the global issue needs to be tackled head-on.
We really do face losing these ancient ocean predators in the next few decades unless we all act globally to save them. A bit like jaguars and other big predators on land, these species really can't take high levels of pressure from humans. And just like those predators on land, they help keep healthy marine ecosystems by eating sick and older fish, keeping coral reefs in balance. So it really is a tipping point over the next few decades for sharks and rays, but some of the research that's been conducted here at Glover's and continues allows us to understand how we're going to have the biggest impact for these species.
For the sharks that call Belize's barrier reef home, their greatest threat is human beings. Hoyt Peckham, WCS's Director of Community Fisheries, explained that sharks are highly impacted by illegal fishing.
Some of it is overfishing, other is destructive fishing. So when people are fishing for things, fishing for other things, they're catching sharks, right? They may be targeting mahi, how do you call it here, dorado, right? But you're taking sharks. This is bycatch, big problem. In other parts of the world where WCS works, there's very intense targeted fisheries. People are actually targeting sharks. Somewhat for meat. We have programs in Guatemala just across the way, and people are eating the meat but then selling the fins to overseas markets, and that's a huge driver because the fins are so incredibly valuable.
WCS's Country Director, Nicola Will Gomez, says that fisheries management policies are in place to protect the animals, but some fishers don't comply.
We have the processes in place in Belize where they have to have licenses, where they are allowed to fish in certain fishing areas, 1 of 8, and then all can fish in area 9, that the fishers are complying with these laws, and when we see that infractions happen, that there is action that can be taken. So it's really important to protect these charismatic species. And they also bring in tourism, for instance. So when people go diving, we know Belize is heavily based on, has an economy based on our natural environment. And tourism is very important, and divers enjoy seeing these fish, and they pay a lot of money to come back to Belize, and they fill our hotels, they fill our restaurants.
The excellent work that has been done to protect these predators from becoming prey, like banning gillnecks, establishing shark buffer zones in protected areas, and including local fishers in conservation efforts, has proven to be successful.
Sharks and rays are actually the second most threatened group of animals on the planet now. They are very slow to grow and reproduce, and that's led to huge population declines around the world. But here in Belize, where it's a national ray sanctuary and there are strong fisheries management measures in place for sharks, we've started to see stabilization and some recovery. But the work here at Glover's, conducted by WCS and partner scientists from locations such as Florida International University and Moat Marine Lab, has allowed us to understand better what types of conservation action should we conduct to save sharks and rays.
While the experts hailed from across the globe, Director of the WCS's 30 for 30 project, Pamela Castillo, says the hope is to work together in implementing policies that have worked in Belize to protect sharks in the Mesoamerican Reef and the world's oceans.
We need to make peace with nature, and that is reflected in a global target that is conserving the 30% of our oceans by 2030. So this means that we need to work collectively to conserve our planet and the life system that oceans protect. So that means that if we want to achieve 30 by 30, we need to center the real sea stewards of the sea, the coastal communities, as leaders of this process. That will be including gender. We need more women leaders leading this process. We need more fisheries leading this process. We need political leaders be committed with the local communities to work together and build what Belize is already working, build a new model of economic development, as a blue sustainable finance, and having Belize as one of the leaders of the world that have already bet on this.
According to Awil Gomez, WCS Belize, along with support from the Ministry of Blue Economy and the Fisheries Department, will continue to lead the way in its efforts to support local fishers and protect the country's marine space.
It comes down to dollars and cents. Fishers are going to do illegal activities when they may have no other recourse, when that may be the way that they're able to feed their families. So we need to be looking at the social aspect of fishing. We have to be understanding what are the drivers, what brings people from Belize, and what brings people from outside of Belize, and how do we develop collaborative projects and initiatives to help alleviate the pressures that they're under to enter our waters. How do we in the way that we may have been doing so for Belize, where we support with alternative or supplementary livelihood initiatives through grants, through training, and there are many organizations and initiatives that have been supporting these things. Right now we are doing an assessment of those past projects to be able to develop something with the communities to understand what may be better suited for the communities that use Glover's Reef in particular and Saltwater Key.
Vejea Alvarez, Love News.